You are listening to the Lucha Central Podcast Network. And now, LuchaCentral.com presents Masks, Mats, and Mayhem.
That's
like
not the point, bro.
that.
The point is you can still access your dick in dress pants. Welcome to another edition of Masks, Mats, and Mayhem. I'm your host, the Outlaw LA Red. You can find me on social media at JustinHarvey75. You can find the entire show on social media at MMMShow75. And the results are in. A thing happened here in the United States, and that thing was that Trump got more votes than any nominee to run for office before, except for the fact that Biden got even more than that. They're number 1 and 2. So that's a big success for everybody. I'm just going to call it a success, a win for everyone. 70 million votes for one guy, 74, almost 75 million votes for the other guy. That means that I love all of you people in America because you went out and you actually did something with your life. You stood up for what you cared for, whether I agree with you or not. So kudos to all of you people out there that actually did something. And to the victors go the spoils, and the victors get to write the history. So we'll see how that plays out. And to everyone who wasn't in favor of how it turned out, I'm still with you. I feel for you. And hopefully some of your issues get addressed too, just preferably the ones that don't have anything to do with racism.
Systemic
That's
racism.
all I have to say about it. Yeah.
You know,
I just like to say, get fucked.
I gotta say,
Meef will just tell you what he feels straight out. Like, I'm a little more moderate.
Yeah.
Meef is definitely a little further to the left of me.
Get fucked.
to be fair, like we try to be as civically engaged as possible, but like, you know, and you would say like, why does Meef get to talk about our politics? Well, Meef voted at least 20 times in our election, so he could say whatever.
Yeah.
Right. Kudos to you. Right on. Thank you for.
I was the person who voted for Kanye.
I have to say
thank
it was only a VP option in California.
I gotta talk directly to Uncle Joey. Now that you're elected, remember that student loan shit you said, broski. Please.
Well,
Yeah.
let's
Professor
be fair.
Casey needs it.
Let's be fair too. This is a wrestling show, and we know that wrestling fans are pretty right
Dumb.
down the middle too. And there's a bunch for both sides. Also, one of the two candidates is a WWE Hall of Famer. So
Yes.
I'm sure there
There
are
are
many
plenty of racist wrestling fans. Yes, that's true.
It's
Look,
weird
I'm not
that
going to
Jimmy
necessarily call them racist. I'm saying that there are definitely wrestling fans that fall on both sides of the fence, and
Yeah.
you're all still welcome here.
Yeah.
And we don't ever hold back our opinions and viewpoints on this show. If you don't agree with them, we have no issue with that. Feel free to openly disagree with anything we say on this show at any point in time about any subject, whether it be politics, wrestling, or how tasty your mother is. I don't care.
Not our sponsor.
And DJ Krista Joseph, I just want to say I'm pretty sure you lost a bet, so you're still welcome on this show, regardless of what might have happened on Twitter.
I want to extend on what Justin was saying about the voter turnout, and I want to use a phrase, a daily mantra by the great Craig Ferguson that he uses. It's a great day for America. The voter turnout, especially during a pandemic, and especially with all these new ways of voting, new ways of counting votes, everything has been greatly a success. And beyond the presidency, it's super relevant in everyone's daily lives. Down ballot with your representatives, your senators, with your propositions. Like marijuana became legal in how many states? You know, that's a big thing that's going to change your life day to day. And
Expect slow service at every restaurant.
also, like, whoever voted yes on 22 in California, get fucked.
Oh, stop. Look, you know, putting it back in wrestling terms, I loved what Vinny Massaro had to say about Trump cutting heel promos. Like, let's be honest. Trump cuts a great heel promo. He is a magnificent heel. You just have to be careful, though, because if you make your opponent look super bad, I mean, he called him, you know, the worst candidate in history and this, that, and the other thing. And it's like, well, what does that say when you have to put that guy over? That's not good news for you as a heel when you've made the other guy
That's
look
wrestling.
so bad.
That's wrestling 101. You don't call your opponent an old piece of shit, or then you just only beat an old piece of shit. Like
Right.
yeah.
We all read Jericho's books, by the way. 3 of those are Jericho's books.
Look at that.
Are you guys
By the
gonna
way, by the way, I am coming live to you from the car park of a local landscaping company.
Mifa's taking a huge shit
That's
now.
what I thought he was doing. I
Yeah.
didn't want to interrupt because I thought he was working one out over there.
This is the crochet room.
Mic off whenever there's a exit of whatever sort is coming out of him.
See, he
Crochet.
said crochet room. But first of all, okay, crochet is a French word. We know how the British feel about the French, so they call their toilet the crochet room. That's how much they hate French people.
Wow. Okay, so Byron.
Let's go quiet then.
Yeah, I'm gonna just move right on to AEW real quick before we get to a Lucha Rewind.
Can we talk about who Craig Ferguson is? I did a Craig Ferguson quote, and everyone else was like,
Can we
great.
talk about how great Friar Ferguson was?
All right.
You know Norman's gimmick when he after he was wait, was it before or after Bastion Booger? Fuck, I think it might have been before.
We should get is it Jeff Peterson? We should get Jeff on the show. Craig Ferguson's sidekick.
Wow.
Duncan Ferguson was awesome.
First of all,
He was a Scottish footballer who was once put in prison for headbutting someone on the pitch.
You
We
guys
should
9
get Jeff
months.
Farmer on the show. Jeff Farmer being NWO Sting, the only Sting worth mentioning.
way off topic.
Did he pin the Undertaker as well?
I love how Byron thinks wrestling things are the way off topic thing on this show. Anyway,
Oh,
Byron,
speaking of losers, Donald Trump and the Undertaker. There we go. See people losing.
We shouldn't spend too much time on the election because knowing wrestling and wrestling fans, by Tuesday,
By Tuesday, Donald Trump's going to have won.
and
it's
look,
gonna-
man, this is the Johnny Gargano election. They keep kicking out at 2. This thing could still keep going at this point. This could be a fake finish. There could be a run in at any point in time right now, and the whole thing could change, and the belt could be on the other guy's way. Who knows?
I'm sure.
Byron,
Are
The
you
last
saying
time a political guy was hunkered down in a bunker, we all know how that ended. So
Well, Trump was golfing right now, but also I'm sure Rudy in
I
it
got
would be
that
fantastic
right.
if he blew his brains out and then set fire and had his wife set on fire.
Look,
Just saying.
I'm really depressed because I feel like this is going to give Colby Covington less things for his heel promos in UFC. But Byron, what is going on in AEW right now? What is Tony Khan up to?
So I read something. Basically, any news that I'm going to give you is something I read from Lucha Blog tweeting at like 3 a.m. So
Good source. We love Lucha Blog. Everybody should be checking out Lucha Blog all the time for your
100%.
Lucha and wrestling news.
yeah, I mean, if you want to know anything about Lucha, he's the one. He's the expert on everything. Anyway, so a big thing came out of a presser, I think that Tony Khan was doing some sort of interview thing where he was talking to people who were listening and recording. He talked about how someone asked him about the wrestlers, the AEW talents doing indie shows, especially in the COVID era. And he brought up how he believed that it was good for his talent to get the reps in to do more shows because they only do one night a week. So, to get the paychecks. And he also believed that AEW stars would help the indie scene. And he believed in that. He believed that it should be helped and it should be strong. But recently with COVID, and especially if you go back a week or so to the GCW show where everyone got
the
COVID,
collective.
collective, there was a huge fallout. I mean, AEW lost matches because of it.
Janela for sure.
Right.
That's why, I mean, it worked out great storyline that Sonny came in and then got beat immediately.
Yeah, wait. Sonny didn't come in and get beat. Sonny came in and just laid
Got
down on his
squashed.
back and just took up. Like, they barely were able to get 4 seconds out of that match for the highlight clip for Kenny for this week. I was like,
In the 4 seconds, 3 of them were him getting pinned.
Yeah, that's it.
Count.
That match, I feel like that match was a tremendous wrestling TV match because one, Sonny got a good story coming in, good underdog story, and then 2, it was a flash pin. So all he has to do is duck the knee in the next match, and then he can have a competitive match. There's that what if, there's that draw for a match, and we can't stop talking about it afterwards. So I feel that was a good story.
yeah, no,
But-
it was. I thought that was actually well done. The
So,
storyline
but anyway,
ran down a little bit there.
So Tony was talking about how now he's kind of tightening the reins on talent working indie shows, and he really wants them to. But with COVID, things have to be safe. They have precautions and rules, like the indie shows have to have the same COVID precautions that EW has, and
Which they won't.
but the opponents have to be tested. So like if Joey's going to wrestle someone, the person he's wrestling has to be tested too, and this and that. And now a very specific thing he said was they have to go to him personally about it and explain that it's safe and all those reasons. But also, so you have to like look him in the eye and give him your word. You're not going to go do some bingo hall full of viruses or whatever, you know. But also the match, it was interesting. He said the match also has to have some sort of importance to it. Has to have like a meaning or purpose. So
that guy with his booking is going to say that shit. Come on.
You can do whatever you want with the talent that you pay. But
I'm just saying right now, Full Gear completely disappointed me. Every finish went the opposite way that I wanted it to go, and I'm so angry about it. Actually, we haven't watched Full Gear yet. We're recording before,
but we know what's going to happen.
So
yeah,
I want to really enjoy the show, so I'm not really going. To be honest, I don't even know most of the matches. My brain has been watching Steve Korecki. Fuck. What's his last name?
Urkel. Steve Urkel. You've been watching Family Matters.
Steve is the man. And I've been watching him do math for like a week straight and not sleeping. So I couldn't tell you half the card for Full Gear, which is a total difference for doing steroids.
Flip Philadelphia.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to the show, and I hope among all hopes that Eddie wins. I think.
Yeah.
I mean, who isn't rooting for Eddie right now?
Who isn't rooting for Darby right now? Come on.
Darby and Cody? Yeah. See, it makes all the sense in the world. Cody's building himself up as the ace, and he's building up. Like he got the Dark Order over for a minute, although they put it back on him probably too soon. Mm-hmm. But it makes all the sense in the world for the company and for Darby to make him a star today.
Yeah, and you can have all of this feud with Team Taz over the belt. You can have all that stuff.
I think we want changes in both matches, both title matches, the World and the TV or TNT. But champions would be different. They would have different roles. Like Darby it's a star-making performance where he's going to be highlighted, and he's going to have hopefully a bunch of really great programs coming out of it. Eddie, I think it's everyone's rooting for him with the career he's had and what he's put into the industry. But I feel like he would be just a really great transition champ. He could come out. He can do an hour and a half worth of TV without actually having to wrestle because he can barely walk anyway. But he could come out and be entertaining for the whole time. And then he has built-in angles. Like for me, I would like to have the title's going to Kenny eventually, but I would love to have him get the title off of Mox, and then Phoenix comes at him for the title, and then somehow you bring in Penta too. Phoenix becomes champ, and now you have a program, Phoenix and Kenny, and now you have that big Kenny win, and it's also going to be a phenomenal match.
Okay, but let me ask you a question, Byron. What do you do with Mox if he's not the champ? Do you have enough exciting things for him to do in AEW? Because he's still a star, and I agree that the title needs to come off of him to get a little motion, to pop some views, to get the storylines moving in AEW. I think he's had his time, and maybe there's another time for him down the line. But what do you do with Mox after the belt's off of him? I just don't know.
Mox and Pac.
Character development.
Mox and Pac? Okay, that's decent. Pac hasn't been around, so I wasn't really thinking about him, but he's back now, so that's decent. I could go with that.
It's his edge back. No, because as soon as he won, he was like, I'm a man of the people. And they had all these great ideas where he was going to be of the people with the belt in Japan and all in Bloodsport. And he was going to be everywhere with the belt, spreading the AEW brand everywhere and putting on, good shows and this and that. But none of that happened. So he did nothing.
Right. So, I'll tell you one of the things I do kind of like about AEW right now, and I don't know how far they're going to go with this, but I really think they should continue down this path. They're starting to faction out similarly to New Japan.
Yes.
And I really think that they should continue that and make it more concrete. And within those factions, people don't necessarily have to be heel or face. They can just be the faction that you like or the faction that you don't like. I mean, I think Inner Circle kind of walks that line back and forth between heel and face.
I love that taker. I agree. I love that at the beginning, but MJF straight up called it out.
Yeah, and I think that's a very smart way to go for American television. I mean, I know a lot of American wrestling fans do watch New Japan, but it makes it easy to understand whenever you come in that there's these different factions and they have, you know, their own desires and everybody wants to bring some gold to their camp, especially if you're going for this real sports presentation. It's like, you know, the Eagles and the Redskins or whatever, the Washington Football Club, whatever you call them these days. Neither one is necessarily the heel, but, you know, they're a faction. The teams are factions. And I just think that that's a better presentation look for them. You know, let's not go old school. Let NWA have the pure old school. Let WWE do their thing. And I think that you know, there's a good place for them. And it honestly, and I'm hoping, and I feel like Impact's kind of done this recently, but I feel like Impact is now turning into the de facto super indie that Evolve kind of was for a little while, and then AEW was kind of that at first, but I think AEW is one of the majors now, and should leave kind of the super indie thing behind. They should just become the alternative, whether they're number one or not. I don't think they should be concerned with that. They should treat themselves like a bigger thing, especially if they're going to do this third show, and just be not a super indie, but another major promotion like TNA has been at times, or Ring of Honor was for a little short while. And then let Impact be the super indie where all the performers and the guys like Chris Bay and the guys who don't land somewhere else, like the Good Brothers or whatever, can go in and do a run. I feel like the wrestling landscape is kind of evening out, except for Mexico. Like, I feel bad because CMLL was having a decent little run about a year and a half ago. AAA it felt like they were kind of getting everything together, and that they, you know, with the stuff they were doing in conjunction with AEW, kind of had a good rub going. And you know, Triple Mania last year at least had some heat. I won't necessarily vouch for how everything came out, but you know, at least there was some stank on it. There were people watching and interested, and people were reading the results and caring about it, and they got decent numbers on it. But then just now, like the Auto Luchas thing, man, I watched 3 or 4 matches and just didn't care. I was just like, it was so pedestrian and so just passing me by. There was nothing to it. I don't know.
Well, there was no long-lasting story stuff from it, but I gotta say though, I just read that they're done anyway for like 3 or 4 weeks, so we're not going to see.
Yeah, I mean, that video will be surfacing here stateside more and more and whatnot. But that's it. That's you're just going to get the stuff that they've just done. It was a little pilot run of what's going on, and we'll see where they go from here. But
hey, bless them for fucking trying, you know?
Yeah, and just Lucha Libre in general right now is not in the best place. You're not going to see your stars turn into bigger stars right now unless they're in an American or Japanese promotion.
Well, they did do something. They are giving Laredo Kid a murder push right now because he's going to be the one that's wrestling Kenny, and that sounds interesting.
Right.
He did a 3-way and put both of his opponents out on stretchers, so I'm interested in seeing how that plays out. I'd like to see video of that.
Okay. Yeah.
Because I fucking love Laredo Kid, bro. Like him being in AEW that one time was amazing.
Yeah, and he's been around for years now.
Yeah,
he ain't
I've been a fan.
Anymore.
I've been a fan ever since he was on the Air Force. You know, I've been a fan of his.
But look, all politics aside, I know we were talking about it earlier in the show. Like, you know, we were talking about it in our DM the other day a little bit. Wrestling has done better during COVID than a lot of other entertainment out there. And sports in general, a lot of them have come back and found ways to do it. But there's a few reasons. A, they have money to be able to do the testing and whatnot and the infrastructure and to kind of keep everything contained. All the wrestling shows just kind of hunkering down into singular places and giving up on the touring concept almost immediately. That was very smart. Like, look, you've got TV deals in place, fulfill those TV deals, figure out a way. And I give kudos to the entire wrestling industry. A, for borrowing from each other when it was appropriate, which is not something that's uncommon in wrestling, doing the picture-in-picture or trying to figure out how to do the audiences and the crowds. I think, you know, AEW and NXT especially both kind of figuring out against each other, being against each other at the beginning of this was good for the business because they were kind of going back and forth and figuring out how to put on a show still. And it worked. Like, the ratings are decent. They haven't lost a lot of people. Now, I'm not going to say that this is a great time to be a wrestling fan, but I do feel in the last month or so it has gotten a lot better as everyone has smoothed things out. However, the crowd noise on NXT irks the hell out of me. The Capitol Wrestling Center, what you see compared to the sound that you're hearing, even the Thunderdome set that they're using for Raw and SmackDown, it makes enough sense. It's like, no, it's supposed to be the feel of a big arena. And at times I forget that they're in a virtual arena. Like, it works there. But man, on NXT, it's deafeningly loud. Everyone's yelling like there's some huge crowd there. And even when they were in Performance Center and other places, it never sounded like that. It always sounded like a deader, smaller room, kind of like Lucha Underground. Right? Yeah. Unlike that
they also do these terrible chants.
Person crowd. Oh yeah, they pipe in the chants. What? Like, I get it.
No. Even some of the crowd start doing like a little one-person chant, and it's like, no, it sounds really bad because it's like one person or two people giving a chant, and it's just no.
Look, that little crowd in there banging on the glass and trying to start stuff is okay to me, but when you supplement it too with the canned stuff that obviously came from bigger arenas, like they're using the sound from NXT TakeOver at WrestleMania to put it into the Capitol Wrestling Center. Yeah. Like, what the hell is that? Makes no sense to me. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe
throw them on the wall of shame.
Justin's frozen.
By the way, all of wrestling Wednesday night seems to have a bad sound mix. I don't know if you guys noticed this last Wednesday when all of us watched AEW. Their backstage vignette promo were echoing in the stadium still. Like, they were still using those mics, like the arena mix.
758s. Go-to mic, the Shure mics.
So I think that we should take a quick break for the Lucha Central update. Justin, I very much appreciate that you'll let us do the break and say hello to Denise for you. Let's take a quick break.
This is part of the new legal issues.
Yeah, this is a legally mandated, not Justin break to the.
It's a digital restraining order that was filed,
and
so we're just doing our best.
Let's get let's figure out what's on the Lucha Central Podcast Network. And
with Denise.
Oh, he came back.
He's violating the restraining order.
You're violating.
Hey,
trying to throw it to Denise Central.
Hey, Denise.
Oh no.
Hey, Denise. Can I ask?
Oh, Danny.
No. It's just a simple question, Denise. What's going on over there in the Lucha Central on the Lucha Central Podcast Network this week? Can you tell me? Because I'd like to know.
I don't like
that. So I was going to ask what was going on in a butthole.
Was that okay? Was that good? Did I do it right?
I almost.
It was something.
Let me try it this way. In a world where Denise Salcedo has all the information about the Lucha Central Podcast Network, one host from the Mass Mats and Mayhem show throws it over to Denise Salcedo in Lucha Central.
Yeah, straight to you, Denise, from your favorite host, the Lucha Gringo, Professor Casey.
Hey everyone, it's Denise Salcedo here in Lucha Central with a reminder of where and when to catch all of the great network content this week. Get the full lineup and listen to all of our shows in the podcast network section of luchacentral.com. Sundays on the Lucha Central Facebook page, world-traveled shooter of the camera kind, Jerry Villagrana goes mano a mano with a fellow photographer to throw down about some of their favorite photos they have taken at Lucha Libre events. Monday, Business of the Business returns as Mass Republic President Kevin Kleinrock takes you inside how your favorite Lucha Libre merchandise gets made. On Tuesdays, Mass Mats and Mayhem takes you inside the world of Lucha Underground as they take you weekly through the series with the benefit of hindsight and the benefit of special guests from the groundbreaking series. Check out the premiere video stream every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern on the Lucha Central YouTube channel and at luchacentral.com. Then listen to it on your favorite podcast platform every Wednesday. Tuesday nights live, it's Wrestle Boss, where Fabi Chulo talks MMA and pro wrestling with special guests and listener call-ins. Visit WrestleBossLive.com Tuesday nights at 7 p.m. Pacific to listen live or call in with questions, or download the show on podcast platforms on Wednesdays. Wednesday nights live on Facebook, it's Spanish show La Mesa de los Márgaros, giving you both the news and the chisme from around the lucha world. Special guests and a whole lot of fun make it one of the most talked about shows in Mexico. Thursdays, it's Straight Out of the Bodega with Papo Esco and PWR promoter Gabriel Ramirez, as they have guests from throughout the wrestling world pull up to give an inside look into their careers. From indie standouts to television superstars, each week brings a new name and perspective. On Friday, it's your double dose of Lucha Central Weekly podcast, one in English y el otro en español. Lucha Central Weekly is where you'll find all the top stories of the week, both inside and out of the ring from Mexico and anywhere luchadores are in action across the globe. Be sure to subscribe and follow all your favorite Lucha Central Network series on your favorite podcast platforms, either by their own series name or subscribe to the Lucha Central Podcast Network show pages to get all of the shows in one easy feed. And please consider giving a rating to help more fans find the shows that you love. For now, this is Denise Salcedo signing off from Lucha Central Central. Have a great week.
This is when we need to come back from the break because Justin's frozen like that. And we're back! Awesome!
Now you're
Thank you, so Denise.
around it. You know,
Okay.
Justin has been frozen as per the legal requirements.
We have frozen Justin due to his creepiness. It is like the Mandalorian freezing someone in carbonite. This is the way.
Demolition Man, I think.
It's funny how quick that restraining order kicked back in.
Hey, the law doesn't fuck around. And you know what else doesn't fuck around?
I've got 3 cats
Our
on me.
Lucha Underground reviews. I've got a review for you, Byron. The whole thing sucked. How about that?
I would like to get into that in a second.
I did not watch it.
So that helps me. If
That helps. That makes.
Well, I was
Paradise
watching it,
segment.
and then someone messaged me. I've got 3 cats on me right now, and one of them is currently.
That helps a lot. But what I think we should really get into is
Alberto Del Rio's domestic violence.
I have that shirt, by the way.
I do too. And actually, I might have already.
What, the Alberto Del Rio's violence camp?
I think you kept that your car on the engine.
Did you guys hear that Paige came out and said that he was doing all that weird kidnap, abuse, tie-up shit to her too?
He would lock her in a room for 7 hours, come back and beat her up.
Let's put him on the game. So,
so what was our first segment? We got to see Dario talk to Mundo and Alberto as they both whined that Hernandez got a title shot, because that's how you build a baby face. You have them both be a pair of whiny fucking bitches first thing in the episode.
Yeah.
So everyone loves a crybaby, Byron.
Well, here's the thing. Patron isn't really a baby face, and neither is Mundo. And
he came in as kind of as a baby face, didn't he?
Yeah, he came in as baby face.
And when you've got a little company that is based and aimed at Latinos, he's kind of gonna be the big star, especially coming out of somewhere where he slapped someone for being racist.
But it's not what the character is like.
So we saw this promo. It was them whining about not getting a title shot. So now they have to wrestle each other, and then they wrestle Hernandez, who doesn't get his title shot until he beats the winner of their match. Also, we cut to some bullshit with the Crew and Son of Havoc and Angelico. We had a tag match because Evie's legitimately hurt at this point.
Yeah. That was a good tag match. That was a good tag match.
A good tag match because you know what? The 2 went over, and I hate Son of Havoc. As much as I love Angelico, I hate Son of Havoc. So it cancels out my love for Angelico, and I want to see the team lose.
So the match, though, I thought was pretty good. Son of Havoc was getting massive chance at the beginning, but Angelico got a great portion of the match to show off, which is great. He had yet, and like Vampiro was even like flabbergasted of like a spinning knee or something.
Let me ask you something, Byron. Were those chants for Son of Havoc as thunderous as the "fuck you Havoc" chants he got at the Ultima Lucha where he had to wrestle Pentagon in the ladder match?
Well, we're not that far into the rewind, so
I know.
So
Just waiting. It's building to the moment.
I thought it was good.
It was a great match.
The crew was great. I mean,
what was next?
We got to see the Psycho Realm.
Yeah, it's the Psycho Realm. Cholo was doing awesome work. Mr. Cisco and Cortez. We kind of joke he's kind of a goofball, and he only greases up half of his body. But I mean, he's a good wrestler, and
did he grease up his calves?
He was great in the crew, and he was solid in the match too. It was a good match all around, and and so, but I thought it was just great how the crew popped in and did the Psycho Realm, and got the win. Like it all just.
I love that move.
Justin has met his bail conditions.
I love that move so much more when they do it before the Revival stole it.
Yeah, FTR doesn't do a good job of it.
No,
but
they do a good job of fucking putting me to sleep. I guarantee I'm going to fall asleep during that match with the Young Bucks, even though it already happened.
Well, it came out that they were complaining about the lack of build, which I think is just another way of them trying to get the match over. But there was no build on it. Like
they do a lot of complaining, don't they? Spent 3 years complaining.
Yeah, true.
I think that's part of their heel gimmick now is to do that.
I mean, the best thing they've done in the last 3 years is punching the guy who attacked Bret Hart.
Justin just went to get himself a drink, and the next segment had our favorite piss drinker, Delavar Daivari, talking to Dario Cueto about his subscription to Piss Drinkers magazine.
I did notice that they both had a cocktail, and Dario's looked very Scotch-esque, looked like a nice 15-year maybe. And Daivari's was quite a bit lighter in color than that, and it had a little froth to the top of it. Maybe
what it is Dario's was that first bit in the morning piss. That was like when you've had a good 10 hours sleep.
Oh yeah, and you're a little dehydrated. You just
it's got that beefy smell to it.
Daivari's nickname is Golden something, right?
The Golden Shower.
Yeah, no, it's called he's the Golden Warrior. I think there's a reason for that. He was introduced that way, but we are not at the match yet. But I also like he comes into who goes into Dario's office and just plays Gardenscapes on their phone the whole time. Like that was kind of rude,
disrespectful.
It was very disrespectful. I didn't like that.
Back then, it probably would have been Candy Crush.
I think it was actually Farmville for him. I think it was Farmville back then. Yeah.
Words with Friends.
Oh, it might have. It could have. Look, come on, Daivari, Words with Friends. You want to give him that much credit?
Yeah, he was probably playing. He was probably playing against like Jeff Cobb or something though, so that he knew he would win.
Those are short games.
Yes, Jeff Cobb. I look. I'm a huge fan of Jeff Cobb.
I am too.
I'm just going to leave it there. I don't want to disparage the guy at all.
I'm not disparaging anything. I'm just.
Yeah.
I think it sucks that New Japan gave his spot.
Words with Friends champion.
He had a good G1. He had a really good G1. I don't think he won more than like half a match, but he had a really good G1, and he's in Japan as pretty much a glorified young boy.
He's living in the dojo right now, actually.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
He was gonna be in that the Empire stable but then he didn't get in it, and then he was gonna have a tag team in the tag tournament, but then they couldn't get Mikey Nichols, and so he's basically just like training and helping clean the place, not working.
So here's the fun thing. So Daivari shows up, and he gets out of this. I mean, look, if I was Dario, I'd give him relatively whatever he wanted if he came into my office and drank this. That's kind of scary. That's scary enough for me to be like, yeah, give this guy something and get him out of here.
So that's an alpha move.
He gets Tejano. He gets Tejano. That seems ill-advised.
Sexana.
I'm just gonna say. I don't know if he's totally gone into.
His name's Tejano. I thought his name was. Oh shit.
Yeah, really. And then we go right into another vignette. Lucha Underground was still feeling out the vignetting process here. At this point in the series, they had no qualms about doing kind of these back-to-back vignettes of kind of traveling things. I think they got it ironed out a little smoother later, but I wasn't mad at it. It's like they have storylines to progress. And I feel like this is still a byproduct of writing a little bit on the fly and not knowing that first season how episodes were going to come together, because these wouldn't hit edit until later. The edit cycle was, I think, a couple months behind the filming cycle.
And their editors some would do some matches, and then some would do the vignettes. Everything was just very fragmented in post.
Yeah,
and I think some of it was between, it was where the adverts were going to come in, wasn't it? So
yeah,
they didn't one either side of the advert.
They didn't entirely know, because they had a lot. The good thing is they had a lot of freedom with Lucha Underground, where they weren't trying to hit specific times. I don't think with their ad breaks. I know that they had to hit the first quarter hour ad break at a certain time, and then other than that, they had a lot of leeway. So their editors were going in there, and then this is around the time where EBW, they're taping 4 episodes a weekend when they were shooting on a 2-week cycle. But then those are going into post, and they were taking at least a week or more in post-production, and Skip was chiming in a lot, and Eric Van Wagenen was getting more involved, and Tony Jensen and a couple of these other guys were in and out, and Fogelman, of the edit process while they were still doing the taping, because the first season it wasn't like season 4 where they finished the whole season, then edited it and then aired it. They were in and out of the whole thing. So you can see them working out some of the kinks, and I think at this point in the show, it's starting to go well, but the back-to-back vignette thing, you don't see a lot of that in later seasons unless the storyline is really kind of flowing through. Anyway, the second vignette here, we get the locker room scenario. Lots and lots of great actors in there. You've got Conan, you've got Dario, you've got Hernandez, you've got Puma, the other guy with the yellow mask. Once again, hilarious. Puma doesn't get to say anything.
He was just happy to be there. He was just happy to be there.
He had a teenage cube stash under his mask too. He looked like fucking Shaggy from Scooby Doo. Do you guys notice that?
Yeah, he was creeping out a little bit there. He had a little. Yeah. He had a little Paducah slipping out underneath the mask there.
He's enjoying his time in Los
Little
Angeles.
Paducah is what they call his dick.
Wow.
Little Paducah is probably the next name of his girlfriend.
And this is setting up a weird thing. So even when I saw this the very first time, you're obviously leading to a Hernandez heel turn, but this just hasn't played out enough for me yet. The tension here doesn't feel real. It doesn't feel good. I don't get why they're not letting Conan build a little something and then having a turn. I don't get it. Obviously, we're setting up that Hernandez wants to do things a little more roughshod than Goody Two-Shoes, Puma. And then, I honestly, which is fine. I just think they should have played up more the aspect of Conan not knowing which side of this thing he would fall on. Does that make sense?
That would be really interesting. And also, I feel like they should show Hernandez cooperating and helping again.
Yeah, something. They needed some kind of
along the way.
It needed a little more build, and I think it could have been more interesting with. We know that Conan was pushing Puma at the beginning to be a little more rough with things, to do the Boyle Heights street fights and to take matters into his own hands more, and kind of pushing him more to that tweener phase where Puma was trying to be the Goody Two-Shoes babyface. And I think that dynamic, and if you have Hernandez coming in and doing stuff like that, then Conan could have been conflicted about, whether he wanted to do things like the old LAX way or whether he wanted to keep promoting the new kid who wanted to be the babyface. I think that could have been a fun dynamic. But this episode doesn't really go that way. And
this episode's kind of the opposite of fun in a lot of ways.
I wanted to say I think they had lined up the title match too soon, so they couldn't fit that amount of story in. But they randomly put another #1 contender match in next week. Do
you think this was random, or do you think this might have had to do with the fact that ADR got a script one day and he was like, Hernandez, I don't think so. Why are me and Mundo and guys that are more qualified to do these things in a bigger spotlight here?
You think ADR took any amount of time to make comments on the booking?
I don't think so. I think I honestly feel like
not
this
getting
is-
my arm broken. Yeah, I think that is one of the comments that he made to booking.
I think that this change of plans in the storyline was a direct result of ADR. I will say that. I don't know that for a fact. I'm sure we could find out, but
Yeah.
I believe
Educated
that,
guess.
Well, I mean, I think by now everyone has heard all the stories, especially because Conan said it on our show about how Evie was complaining a lot or like cutting promos on people backstage a lot and whatever. But I don't think it's that common knowledge about how much ADR was doing that and how much he was just yelling at the Chris's for his placement on the card and for all this stuff.
But given he also had a little more of a leg to stand on doing that, he's like, hey, you guys brought me in here. I'm the WWE superstar. I'm the guy who's Dorian's AAA mega champion right now. Like, you brought me here. I wasn't beating down your door. Like, I'm the star. And I'm the star in the Latino community, and you have to give me what I want. Now, the fact that he's bitching and complaining about what he wants, you know, instead of trying to come in and be a team player, that is definitely on him. But at the same time, like him compared to Evie doing the same thing is a different story. This was a girl who was at this point on Tough Enough and had a very brief WWE run, you know, and was on the cusp of a little something, but by no means was a household name or recognized even in the Latino community the way ADR was.
Right.
You know, clearly he was a big star, and it shows in the match later. So let's keep going. We'll get to it. So basically the fallout from this segment and the original segment is that there's a new number one contenders match. Hernandez has to wait for the winner of that thing. And then if he wins that, then he can face off with Puma, who he now has some weird growing weirdness with.
I gotta say though, for Hernandez, that's fucking bullshit. He won his match.
He won the match.
They did this all the time.
Is it
Yeah,
more
that's
bullshit, Casey, than showing up to work one day and saying, hey, later today in the middle of the card, you're going to have an apuestas match for your mask, Superfly?
yeah, because Superfly shouldn't have had his mask to begin with.
True.
He already lost that shit.
Also, to be fair, Dario seems very easily swayed if you come up and just yell at him, and then he'll change the matches for you.
Well, and I guess that's kind of the character they were going with at this point. I like that they did some of these things later, especially in season 2, where Dario did them but had more balls doing them, and they seemed more
It's
deliberate.
because he had his brother around then, and now he's still in the cage and he's afraid to take him out. you know?
Yeah, and honestly, that may have actually helped the Dario character. Like, the Dario character at this point, even as a character, is not as likable as he became even later this season.
Right.
But, it is what it is. So we get the Golden Warmer next versus Tejano. This is the longest match in Lucha Underground history.
Because
I gotta give props to Melissa Santos for now coming to the ring. Oh shit, that was tremendous.
That was great. That was tremendous. And the fact that they left it in and didn't cut around it, that was brilliant, genius.
That was great.
Probably one of her defining moments. And she does.
And
she got out. They had to cut away from her because I think she was wearing a skirt, and that didn't work out so good for the cameraman. But
that was a big thing. When we get into how Lucha Underground was a TV show more than it was a wrestling show, one of the things no one ever brings up is that they never had a good way for the ring announcer to get in and out of the ring.
No, they didn't. They didn't have any ring.
And so Melissa, I think, finally got smart because she started wearing like shorts, pantsuits, or whatever.
Yeah.
Like full one-piece things on days when she knew she was going to have to bump or roll out of the ring or do something tremendous. But there were other times when it was like pencil skirt and super-duper high heels. And the first season, they didn't even put those little stack things on her shoes that let her walk in heels on them. They started doing that later. There's these little plastic caps with a flatter thing so she could wear spike heels. But
after she broke her ankle, they started doing that.
Yeah, smart.
That's how you learn.
Yeah. These when people wonder why we still do a show about Lucha Underground, it's like because we know so much stupid shit about this particular show that somebody's got to do it, right?
It was just so funny to watch like the AED try and pull the ring ropes open for her. This like guy who probably weighs 150 pounds.
Always a clusterfuck. Always.
And then, of course, you have the guys in the bleachers, not us, but the other guys in the bleachers. They'd always cheer.
Yeah.
When the view got inappropriate.
Look, she is admittedly a very pretty lady. And dude, here's the thing about Melissa that I will say. We give her shit all the time about her botches and whatnot. Like, she's not Justin Roberts, where he gets everything right almost every time on the announcing side. She botched a lot of stuff. But at the same time, she is so friggin' nice. There was never one time when I was in her presence when she didn't say hello or speak or was super nice and enthusiastic and always excited about what was coming. Just a genuinely uplifting, nice person all around. So I know we give her crap, but I still have a lot of respect for just what she would always bring with her attitude and her spirit. You know, whether she was bringing her A game on the mic or not, it's always up for debate. But just as an individual, she brought a lot to that locker room, and I just think that everybody liked her. Like, who doesn't like Melissa Santos? She's just a nice person.
I mean, to be fair with all,
I'd say maybe Roderick Strong doesn't.
To be fair with all of the botches she made announcing people from wrong cities or whatever, or just you know, we don't have enough runtime to get into that. But that aside, she was a big part of like the spirit of the show of Lucha Underground.
Absolutely. She was one of the primary voices. She was always one of the first people you see, and she was always very gracious and nice to fans. And like we're saying too, some horn dog inappropriate fans at times. And she wouldn't stiff arm them either. She would speak to them and be super nice, even when they were being a little inappropriate or kind of.
She would even eat fruit snacks on her way down to the ring, and one of the fans would say, "Hey, can I have one?" And she would give them fucking fruit snacks. She's so nice.
Yeah, it goes to the golden rule of wrestling. You don't have to be good; you have to be over.
Correct.
No, but I mean, come on. How nice do you have to be to share your fruit snacks? I would say, no, these are mine. Get your own fucking fruit snacks. But she shared the fruit snacks. She's a very nice lady.
She really did. And it's funny because you see Evie during that earlier match sitting in the crowd with both Vicks and Johnny Ace and Sheila Key and a few other people. She didn't last sitting there for very long. Like, I think she was supposed to sit there the whole match. And then,
do you want the behind-the-scenes story that none of you are going to believe?
Okay.
I was told this story, though, for real. It's not a joke story. It sounds like I'm making up, but it's not. Somebody decided to fucking fart around her, and she got offended and got up and left, allegedly. And that's what Vic told me. So, hey... I trust
those
Vic.
Were the four people that were sitting in direct proximity to her was Johnny Ace and his girl, I think. Sheila Key, both Vicks were right there. Who else was sitting right there in that shot?
I don't know, but
Vic is one of them.
Vic is completely he was convinced that Evie thought it was him that farted, and it wasn't.
She was right next to him too.
Yes, because she was right there, but it was just
Evie.
Yeah,
I gotta tell you, man, if you fart in those stands, you're worse than Hitler. That is not a well-ventilated building.
No.
The air just lingers. It's bad.
Yeah, you're shoulder to shoulder.
You're already dealing
next to you. You're that jammed in there.
It's already 50 degrees.
Body odor and whatnot, plus whatever food they ate off the truck out front, like, you know, and the truck served things like, you know, falafel hummus sandwiches and burritos and
ice cream.
Not stuff that smells really good after it is lingering on somebody's person for 3 or 4 hours in a sweaty, tight-knit group. And
non-air conditioned.
These are the episodes where they started putting a few more people in the stands. Like, they're really starting to pack in Lucha Underground. They're pushing more people in the stands. The standing room only is completely full. This is not the first couple episodes where they didn't even have chairs out on the floor in some places. Literally every seat or place that they can put a human being and it's sweaty and musty and enjoy. All right. So I don't even know what
I do want to say one thing that I thought it was hilarious though when they cut the Evie and you see Vic next to her and he's definitely on church behavior.
Yes. But he's polite. He's a reasonable human being. Some of the other people around her, I don't think were being as polite. I think that Vic and John,
like whoever ripped the massive fart.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
By the way, and Cheetah Kill was like over her shoulder, breathing like into her ear.
Well, he's also allegedly who ripped the massive fart, but I didn't say that.
Well, here's something like I don't know too much about anything. I think that's obvious. But is Cheetah Kill named after food?
Yeah, it's an egg dish.
Yeah,
he's a comedian. He's actually like a really funny dude, and he's a good dude. He's always been good to me. He's had some issues with some other people, but he's always been good to me.
He wouldn't let us be under the tent, and that was a thing.
Listen, white boy in Boyle Heights. Of course, he wouldn't let you be under the tent. How's that going to look, man? That's not good for your public image.
This is true. Byron, you fucking honky.
Yeah.
You call him like I see him, man. Look, I had little beefs with him here and there about, some of the showing up and just getting in line wherever he wanted and whatnot. Like he always had friends at the front of the line. And I felt like there were times when it ticked me off a little bit because it's like, dude, we've all been waiting out here forever. And I know you've got friends in line. I've got friends all over the line too, but you can't just show up with like 10 people and just go in front of the hundreds of people who've been waiting out here since 5 a.m. That was my biggest beef with him.
Yeah, but that's all. That's all.
Like that. He was going since day one. He was one of the originals, you know.
Yeah, he was. He's got tenure over us, and plus, that's all old shit now. I love the guy. If I saw him at a show now, I would give him the biggest hug. I don't know if he would remember me. He probably would remember me.
He sold your Ultima Lucha sign on eBay, didn't he?
I don't know about that. Maybe
he sold someone's.
Yeah, I don't know. Mine. Vic got my good one. Vic has my Matanza beheading my sign. The sign with Pentagon ripping off Matanza's head and blood squirting out everywhere. He has that one.
That's good. I have mine somewhere here.
Look, I wouldn't hold anything against any minor old grudges with anyone from the temple against him at this point. At this point, it's kind of like, they're family and you fight with your brothers every now and then when you're in the same house at dinner. But then when you're against the rest of the world or when you're out in the rest of the world, you're back to being family again.
Lucha-masks.com, in partnership with Mask Republic, give you personal protective masks to keep you Lucha strong in the fight versus COVID-19. With world-class luchadors Blue Demon Jr., the Lucha Brothers, LA Park, Ultimo Dragon, Cain Velasquez, Conan, and so much more. Head to lucha-masks.com and you too can become a masked warrior. Lucha-masks.com, powered by Pro Wrestling Revolution.
Bros, I still have some beef.
Uh-oh.
Pentagon should have gone over at Ultima Lucha too.
We're not there yet.
Oh, I can't wait till we get there. So anyway, Tejano's DQ'd here. You know what? This DQ was so fast. I don't even know which ref it was that he pushed. Was that Borden? Who was it? I don't even. You don't even get to see the ref. This match is so fast.
It probably would be Borden getting scared so easily.
I mean, what other pussy ref would call for the match to be over? Like, how many times has Marty Elias bumped and not like DQ'd the match?
I have a question.
Like every match,
constantly.
I have a question. Justin, how does it feel that the ref that his gimmick in PWG is people tell him to go fuck himself and they hope he dies, and his name is Justin. Yet he even won't use the name Justin. They call him Lefty Borden.
Right.
I'm Jason.
It's actually really annoying. And when they do actually call him Justin, it's always a fuck you, Justin chant. And then people just look right at me. Like, no.
Remember, we should have recorded that with the phone when we were at PWG and the whole crowd was chanting fuck you, Justin, in slow motion in that one match.
Oh, God.
Justin.
That was incredible to be at Bola 15, Drew McIntyre doing the indie tour that he was doing. And he was in the middle of that 10-man match. And Chucky Taylor, the Kentucky gentleman, did his famous slow motion gimmick, and Drew was just laughing his ass off the whole time.
He had to put his head down on the turnbuckle because he was laughing so hard.
Oh,
good times.
Hey, so this next match, we were talking about some of the production stuff, but in the Cuerno and Cage versus Puma and Hernandez, right at the beginning is one of the first obvious pickups that I've heard. It was an audio pickup of Vampiro basically just saying Drago was banished from Lucha Underground for losing his best out of set. Whatever. It was like so voiceover cut in, didn't sound like the same mic quality at all.
No, they do it in their cell phones and emailed it.
Yeah, and we've talked to Eric Van Wagenen about this. This was a smart addition on their part. It's like I think they realized at a certain point, like they're missing putting over certain things the right way. But unlike WWE, where if you don't know anything about WWE, each announcer has a separate person in their ear. Plus, then they have the bosses like Vince and the main show writer and other producers at Gorilla that can trump their guy and get in their ear too. So at times they can have up to 3 or 4 people in their ear talking at them, telling them exactly what to say. That's why sometimes you hear them get tripped up. It's not because they're not good at it. It's because it's their turn to talk already and somebody's still talking at them while they're talking. It is a very unique skill. One of the reasons Corey Graves did so well so fast apparently is because he was great at being able to talk at the same time that he was being talked to. And I've been the guy in people's ears on various shows and whatnot before, especially when I was at NFL. Like I'm talking to my host, Adam Rank, the whole time. And he's got to keep talking the whole time while I'm telling him where to go next. And when the sponsor break is coming in, or we got 10 seconds left to talk about Ezekiel Elliott, whatever, and then move on to the next thing. It is an acquired skill. They realized very quickly at Lucha Underground, this is not a skill that Vampiro especially has. And Stryker wasn't the greatest at it either. So,
which is why he wasn't in WWE.
Yeah. And so, but what they would do was they would just let the guys talk and they wouldn't yell at them for lulls either, but they would go back and they would cut pickups. And it's like, you know, how well you guys do with remembering all the talking points in this match will determine how much you're going to have to spend your week doing pickups later for us to plug into the matches. And you see that, especially in season 3, they did a ton of it, but it was great.
Yeah,
I liked it. It made the storylines more concise, easier to understand. Vamp, notice Vamp is putting over the right guy later on, way better.
I also feel like they got into their own. Eric, especially got into his own, sort of writing the show in post and the edit and assembling all the parts. And I feel maybe in this one, because they weren't doing it so much, that they got it together and then they realized, we have a big star that got kicked off the show last week, and they probably have already plans to bring him back. Like, we can't just forget about him. That's part of our story. We have to talk about it.
Right. And Stryker mentions it later too, from the natural commentary, but he doesn't explain the storyline the right way. He just kind of glances over it. So it was a good pickup, and I think it's just an interesting production note. And for those who don't know, Eric Van Wagenen specifically, he was an editor. He came out of editing reality shows, and you know, reality shows, he a lot of times is editing. You can go out and acquire the footage all day long, but where the storytelling happens, you know, a lot of predators who are producer editors and writers basically are taking this footage and crafting it into something. With wrestling, you don't really get to do that, but Eric Van Wagenen with this show, taking what Skip was doing and what DJ was writing and Roach was coming up with to accentuate it, and then the in-ring performances, he was still able to really craft the storyline along with his editors who worked from home on Lucha Underground, by the way, which is really unusual. But he was able to still use the editing to start crafting it. And I think this part of the season is where you really first start seeing it. Anyway, so this match, strange to me. Like, there were some good things about it, but, you know, Cage hitting a 619, I thought was interesting.
Yeah, pretty dope. Yeah.
It caught me off guard because I and he's done it a few times. I've seen him do it, but at this particular point, you're like, oh shit, he's in a Lucha Libre promotion and he just did a 619. That's kind of dope.
Well, here's the thing with Cage, and I forgot which one of us called him a short person last week.
That was me.
But Cage, in his matches, in his indie matches, in his Lucha Underground career, he looks like he's definitely wide, but he looks huge. He's a heavyweight monster type of imposing presence. And you see him out there, and he's doing that light on your feet Lucha Underground stuff. Like, not like Mil Muertes doing like a head scissors.
Right.
And it's sort of in slow motion and numbering, even though it looks fine, it's good, but it makes sense for that body type. But like Cage is what?
Number 11 on Tetris 99, baby. Look at that.
Okay. super glad.
Look, I thought it was a good look for Cage and Hernandez both. Like doing the squats into the suplex moment was great. Hernandez's dive over the top was probably one of his best ever. Like he had a couple in Impact that were pretty dope, but this one I feel like was one of his best ever. Like he just went for it and he cleared that ring, and the Lucha Underground ring was up pretty high.
It's wild that
and the Impact one's low and small and easier to clear. Yeah,
correct.
It's because I know that we were watching wrestling and we experienced Hernandez's career on TV, and not saying it's over or anything, but just we watched all the stuff he was in. But like going back and seeing these episodes, it's amazing that he wasn't a bigger star.
Right.
Right. Yeah, it is because he can talk decent. He's got a decent performance. There's something a little cheesy about him though that I think keeps him from being the monster character. Like he was never going to be a monster. He's always going to be kind of a muscle guy or maybe a heater depending on how you use him. And I think maybe that held him back a little bit because he was never able to get one of those pushes where, he won 6 or 7 in a row. Like he was never going to be that guy.
Well, his character work, his taunts or whatever, definitely are good spots and matches for the opponent to get one up on.
Yeah,
and then I don't know what character work he has.
I agree. So then we get into the storyline here that we were talking about earlier. Hernandez pulls Puma into the arrow from the depths of hell, which I'm sure Meef absolutely loved to see Ricochet get.
Didn't see it. I was trying to watch the episode when I got told we were recording.
See, this is what happens when you put it off to the last second. Well, go back and watch it, Meef, because you'll love that one. Like your boy Cuerno does full speed arrow from the depth of hell, double ring bounce, and then Hernandez pulls Puma right into it, and he takes it pretty viciously.
Oh, he totally Paul London's him,
and then Hernandez hits the apron bomb on Puma. So heel turn or whatever, not even a heel turn, like because it didn't develop enough to be a heel turn, is complete. Then Conan chases him down with the cane, and
that was perfect timing.
Have a moment.
That was perfect timing when Conan walks on camera with the cane.
Yeah, like
son of a bitch. But check this out. Number one, the best apron bomb spot ever done was Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, because that should stretch someone out and put him out for a while. It shouldn't be a regular spot. And it's, Puma ended up losing right away, so fine. But,
well, I mean, there was a Weapon X involved in there also.
Yeah, but see, I get that's also a heel move to you also
correct.
Just
finish off a guy who's finished.
But what?
Yeah,
I had a second point, and then watching Cage do the Weapon X, I forgot the second point. I thought about the Weapon X, and
Cage's package always distracts you, Byron. That just seems to be a regular thing that happens.
No. So here's the deal. So that happened, and you're like, and then they hit the right story point of like, oh wait, he is about to face Puma for the belt, and so he hurt him. That makes sense now, except they're not going to fight next week.
No. Right. And I don't think they had written that yet, because I think they cut in the rest of everything else that you saw earlier in the match after this match already happened, which is weird. I think it was still at this point when this was filmed, I think it was filmed probably the same day as whatever was last week. And that storyline probably hadn't been altered yet by somebody coming in the back and making demands.
We're approaching within the next few weeks when all of us were starting to be there. We're getting close.
We're getting very close, and our information becomes a lot more accurate at that point in time.
Right.
Anyway, so we go into a vignette number 3, Dragon Azteca and a Lotus doing a Kung Fu slap fest. This is a very Skip thing. That I just kind of like that they're sending Skip off with Drago and Lotus to do the stuff. Now, at this point in time, and this is, again, where I don't necessarily have the most accurate information, are we thinking that Drago was written off to not necessarily come back and for him to just become the Dragon Azteca character and wrestle as Azteca?
Okay,
that's what he told us.
Yeah, so before we get into what we think, to recap, he told us that he was Dragon Azteca and he had plans to be Dragon Azteca, and they saw how big of a star he was. This is what he told us. when they kicked him off and how much he was missed. So then they brought him back as Drago as himself, and then then Dragon Azteca gets killed. Spoiler alert. That's what he told us.
Right, which is awesome because then you get him and Dragon Azteca Jr., which is not bad for Lucha Underground by any
And
means.
I think if you look at the original character designs, you see Dragon Azteca designs, not Dragon Azteca Jr. designs. So I say that it leads credence to what he was saying, because they did a whole presentation introducing a lot of the characters, and we got to see a bunch of characters before they ever made it on the show because of this. And like Dorian was going around trying to get like licensing deals and stuff like that. And Dragon Azteca's in there. Mariposa is in there like way before she debuted. We get to see everything from.
Now, was Mariposa supposed to be, or hopefully going to be, Fabi Apache?
I don't know about that because the body type of the character that they showed does not look like Fabi.
Well, correct, but cheerleader Melissa by season 4's body type also did not look like the original Mariposa either.
Right, this is true. This is true. Join the Dark Order.
And for fans of cheerleader Melissa or Mariposa, go check out her OnlyFans. I think you'll be highly entertained. And moving on.
Certainly. Yep.
Just check out her Twitter.
Hey, Casey, you'll find this one interesting. You know who started an OnlyFans this week?
Pentagon?
Yaya. Yaya Rincon, one of my favorite female MMA fighters, started OnlyFans this week. I'm deathly afraid to go anywhere near that because that was just creepy.
Do you know who else started an OnlyFans?
Who that
Byron?
is?
This is going to give you a great. I posted in the DM, but
Ricky Reyes.
I mean, maybe I don't know that he has it.
It's half greased.
Why do you have the shaft grease? So, Zelina Vega has an OnlyFans.
Yeah, where she posts workout videos.
No, it's
So Vince doesn't know what that is then.
No, it's non-nude cosplay stuff, and it's OnlyFans. And I wonder if she did that because it wasn't specifically listed in the thing.
Right. That actually really makes sense.
Well done, Zelina Vega. I like that girl. Just thumbing her nose at Vince all day long.
So when she disappears off TV soon, we know why.
She's
No one they
she's
know he
smart.
won't mention it publicly because they don't want to give they don't want the kids that watch the show knowing what that site is.
Right. They
It's
don't want to lend any
genius.
credence to it.
so wild that they didn't want to. That Triple H, and I know he's kind of in a bind as to what he can say when he wears a suit, but he mentioned, with China not going in a Hall of Fame for a while is because kids, young WWE fans, to Google China and to see her porn videos. And like you could Google WWE and see the entire porn attitude era.
Hey, let's let the kids Google Lars Sullivan instead. That'll
Yeah, or let's Google Triple H and watch him fuck a dead person.
Oh, Tammy Snitch.
I did
Whoa.
it. I screwed her brains out. Oh, good time.
Go.
Good time.
When he
Katie Vick angle written by Krista Joseph during his time for the WWE.
or when he stole Stephanie McMahon and date raped her into getting married in Vegas as a comedy segment.
Hey, the
Yeah.
question isn't but how many times did we consummate the marriage, Dad?
And the time he actually got the fan to flash.
No, you don't hold that against anyone. That's a standard protocol live event thing.
I'm sadly gonna actually agree.
And on
that note, so yes, AAA Mega Champion Alberto El Patron versus Johnny Mundo. Here's a high-profile match, and look, welcome to Raw is Lucha. They worked a very WWE style, but look, I think these guys did show in this match why they are pros. I think them doing a little bit of the WWE style probably benefited the locker room. The storytelling of physically what they were doing was fine. The ending, man. But I didn't hate this match. Alberto looked great. I think it was better for Johnny's moveset too. I think Johnny's moveset made a lot more sense against a guy like Alberto, who was clearly calling the match, by the way. Clearly. I mean, calling the entire match and slowing things down the way he wanted them to go.
It's
like him.
I mean, it was a WWE thing. They were definitely doing the WWE feeding style, but I felt like at least 3/4 into the match, maybe I'm wrong, and maybe I wasn't watching close enough, but I felt like they did the WWE match, and then they kind of went into more of a Lucha Underground book.
They did. I think they did. I think they went to the finish. I think the go home section of it was probably a little more clearly spelled out by whoever did the match. Probably Chavo would be my guess. Would be the only one.
The bad ending's the LU part then.
Well, no, I'm just talking about the actual finish part. But like the ring psychology and the movement of the match at the end was fine. It was also a little weird too because I felt like they picked up the pace after they did an up and over with Mundo, and he broke the ring steps because he goes through 1 foot with the ring steps, and it was like, man, he could
unintentionally.
He could have twisted it up. Well, yeah, they just didn't have awareness. I mean, I think these are two WWE guys, and there's not ring steps that are at the side in WWE. They're on the corner, for most of their careers, and even the AAA one I think is on the corner. Even when they do a 6-sided, so you don't, if you go up over the side, at no point are you going to hit the steps, but those steps were right there by Dario's office. And a few people have run into those at bad times to the point where I think they stopped using them on that side, and they would take away the ones from Melissa on the other side.
They would keep them under the ring except for entrances.
Yeah, so these stayed out there. He broke right through them. I don't think you see this particular set of steps again after this. But luckily for Mundo, he didn't twist himself up. His parkour saved him, and he was back up and fighting seconds later. None of us were at this taping, so I don't know if there was any kind of delay or slowdown that got edited out. But
looks like
I doubt it with him. He probably didn't even miss a fucking beat.
And look, the end sequence
was that a Del Rio joke? Missing beating a woman or something?
No, but it could apply because he beats a lot of women.
He definitely hasn't missed a woman to beat up. Allegedly.
Just the only thing he misses are autism benefits.
That's true.
Anyway, I thought it was a good sequence at the end, kind of with the rope grabs and the end of the world thing. I just thought that the way that ADR played it showed that he really does know what he's doing in the ring. I just don't like guys going to finishes multiple times and not getting a finish. But at least with this, it wasn't the PWG Johnny Gargano kick out at 2 kind of vibe. It was a ring awareness, grab the ropes thing for both of them. Like ADR did an underhand grab of the ring ropes, which was pretty cool at the last.
I like that. See,
Mundo put his foot on the ropes.
They did a good job of that because that move can also look kind of hokey, especially you do a move and then the guy will shuffle and okay, you're setting it up. And I saw Del Rio shuffle, but he never once looked at the ropes. And he did a good job.
No, his eyes were closed. He did it blind. His ring awareness was actually good. He knew exactly where he was in the ring. Blind at 2, just lifted up his hand and grabbed the ring rope, which was pretty good. And then Mundo kind of did the same thing with a foot. And we've seen that he does really good rope breaks in general of knowing his length, his body length, and doing a long reach with his foot at the last second, whatever he needs to.
He's a guy.
And I will also say this. That was not a cross arm breaker. That was an actual arm bar. ADR, I won't say that his MMA is great, but he does know it. And
just ask Crow Cop, man. Just ask Crow Cop.
Look, ADR is not going to win a ton of fights. Tito Ortiz is going to probably get the better of him every time. But at the same time, that was a legitimate arm bar. He just wasn't over torquing the twist on the wrist, but he was pulling it the right directions. If he had pulled back for real, it could have legitimately hurt. Real arm bar, not a cross arm break.
Yeah. Hey, though, after this match, we got the one good segment of this show, and it was good because it was completely plagiarized from an Undertaker and Paul Bearer promo, but I still loved it.
Time for sleep is over, Pascual Mendoza. Rise again is Mil Muertes.
Rise again, my Undertaker.
Look, it's been too long since Katrina's been on Lucha Underground airwaves. It benefits Evilise. I think that, you haven't had a lot of Sexy Star on the air in the past couple of weeks. You haven't had much Katrina. So all the thirsty gentlemen watching the show at this point were thirsting over Evilise. It helped get over the unlikely trios thing. But now Katrina's back. So maybe there's a new baddest bitch in the building again.
You know what else was too long, Justin?
What's that?
People's ball hairs. Is there something they can do about that?
Nothing.
Okay.
Nothing comes to mind.
Okay.
Wait, no, I'm kidding.
Oh,
I'm kidding.
You got me.
The results are in, and the result is this. It's time for you to shave your balls. And there's one great way to do that. It's with the full line of products from Manscaped. Autumn's in the air, and we're here to ensure that you don't carve your pumpkins the wrong way. Hey, look, I want to show you guys something.
Ew, no.
I've been waiting for this.
What are you waiting
4
for?
years
I
for
gotta
doing this
you
show.
something.
I've been waiting this.
Casey, I'm just showing you something. It's just the boxers, dude. They're awesome. Look.
For the audio listeners, Justin stood up and started undoing his pants.
Manscaped.
Now he's pointing at something and displaying it. He lifted his shirt
At
up.
least they're not white.
I'm pointing at something
Because if they were
long
white,
and
we might have some.
well
So
manicured.
you see, Justin, when you've got the biggest dong in the yard, sometimes you gotta get a little bit of a trim. Because when you're the big evil red devil, you got red pubes. And you don't want those red pubes showing when you're talking to Michelle McCool. What's my wife's name? Say my wife's name, AJ Styles.
Sarah.
I challenge you to the boner yard. And I'm the biggest dong in that yard.
I don't know if this is too personal, if this is, off limits or whatever, but I heard or I read that, Michelle McCool, who is the current wife of Undertaker, she's
My
religious.
wife.
Yeah, yes, Undertaker, your wife, current wife. She's religious. She said somewhere that she did not have sex until she got married to the Taker.
Well, what you fail to realize, boy, is I've crippled more people than polio.
Can
You
I
can take that however you want.
Can I just clarify from you who you're talking to when that last sentence when you
To Byron. When he says boy, he's talking to Byron.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
okay, all right. That's above board.
Listen, here's the good news, guys. Manscaped is on a mission to change the way you approach care for your balls. And great news, all the products are now available in the UK, Canada, Australia, and here in the US.
Are they available in Death Valley?
Let me tell you, yes, they are.
Yes.
And let me tell you the good thing, Undertaker. While you're down there in the coffin, I discovered just earlier today when I was using my Lawnmower 3.0 trimmer that light, there's a guide light on the Lawnmower 3.0 trimmer so you can see what the heck you're doing, because it's not just about having like the advanced skin safe technology in the blade to keep you from nicking yourself. It's about seeing what you're doing as well.
Well, I appreciate that, Justin, because Vince seems to like to have me lose buried alive matches. And when I lose those matches, I got nothing to do under there but shave my balls until they dig me up.
Well, here's what we're going to do, Taker. We're going to send you down there next time with a Lawnmower 3.0. It's got the light. It's got the advanced skin-safe technology. You're going to get your guyans in good shape. Then we're going to also send you down there with a weed whacker so that you can make sure that you're not, growing any roots up there in the nose, because that's the nose hair trimmer and ear trimmer. You can get up in there, make sure that everything is well groomed when you come back out. You'll have that nice goatee. You'll have a nice fresh cut down there for Sarah or Michelle or whichever one it is today, tall blonde chick.
So what you're saying, Justin, is they will take care of my creatures of the night.
Yeah, and you know what else would be good for you? The crop care kit. So that's got like the crop care preserver.
Creatures of the night.
Right.
Down
So
here.
That's important because Taker wrestles in leather pants.
correct. That's what I'm saying. When you're buried alive in leather pants, the crop preserver is going to keep everything from sticking together. That's what's going to keep you fresh down there.
Probably need those ball wipes as well.
Yeah, let's get him the crop cleanser body wash too. Let's get him the crop mop ball wipes. Let's get Taker everything for when he's buried alive down there. Crop cleanser.
I feel like my opponents will appreciate my fresh testicles since my finishing move is putting my balls in their mouth.
You know what they're going to appreciate? They're going to appreciate that these are all vegan, cruelty-free, dye-free, sulfate-free, paraben-free. So you're going to know while you're down there, Taker, that your manhood is in good hands. Probably your own.
I will not rest in peace.
All right. last bit of good news for you, Taker. You can get all this stuff for 20% off right now and free shipping if you just use our code, our specific code. You got to do this, people. So our sponsors are happy with us. We're happy with you, and we're going to save you some money. 20% off, free shipping right now if you use code MMM right there at manscaped.com, and that's in the US, UK, Australia, and Canada. We're going to be right back after this with a couple of more things for you.
Well, the things I do for our fucking video listeners.
If you're listening to this and you haven't visited luchacentral.com, it's time to do it. Luchacentral.com is the online home for Lucha Libre, where you can get all of the top news in English and in Spanish. Find the best curated video content and original content not seen anywhere else. Find when Lucha Libre events would be happening in your area. Find photo galleries from top photographers covering Lucha Libre around the world. From weekly polls to annual awards. Seen and read by top executives in all of the major Lucha Libre promotions across the globe. And on top of that, it's free. LuchaCentral.com, your centralized place for all things Lucha Libre.
All right, folks, you know what time it is here at the MMM Show.
Vader time, brother. It's Vader time.
Crank time.
Casey, how many impressions do you have of...
I don't know. That wasn't a good Vader. I don't think that one should count. I've got a good Vader. Hold on a second. Hold on.
Okay.
Hold on.
I'm nothing. I'm just a big fat piece of shit.
I wonder if Sid Udy will ever stop by this show.
I can't do.
No, I'm talking about the real Sid. Let's just get the real Sid. You don't have to do it.
I've been wanting the real Sid. Yeah.
So we've got to do a wall of fame and shame. Also, big shout outs to Gabe Smith, Paula O'Keefe, and Paula. I'm sorry about the all the ball talk. I'm sorry.
Quicker this time though.
That's all I can tell you. I'm sorry about it. And Heather and Maria and Bad Hombre and Zeus and the whole Markup Mania. Goat say, oh, wait. First of all, I'm going to give Goat say a real shout out. And if you want this shout out too, just let us know that you have also gone to manscaped.com and used code MMM to get 20% off and free shipping like Goat say did. Let us know. You'll get a shout out on the show if you purchase something, and let us know what you think about the products. Like I'm using the stuff. I am enjoying it thoroughly. So I know Casey's using the products for sure. Meatloaf.
Yeah. Go say, I got to give you some advice, brother. Use it consistently. You don't want to sandpaper the poor woman.
Well, I think he got the nose hair stuff going on. So
dude, it's legit.
Full ball treatment yet?
Gotcha. This nose is legit right now. Maybe not from my allergies and the fact that my whole face smells like rubber for some reason because of that mask, but you know.
I want to say, I want to encourage. Like
Byron's beard smells like rubber.
I want to encourage
all the condoms.
What, Byron?
Do they use those even? So I want to encourage, like Justin said, for everyone to email us. But unlike Goatsy, you don't need to send us before and after pictures. That's unnecessary.
Yeah, just the after. Just the after.
Showed you the goat.
I don't know though. In my DMs, I've gotten requests for before and after pictures about my manscaping products. So the wall.
Oh, hey! So you have heard from Matt Stryker again? That's great.
Yeah, I like Matt. He's a fine young man. So anyway, Wall of Fame: Sonny Kiss, Denise Salcedo for loving donuts, Tony Khan, Karrion Kross, Roman Reigns, Casey. You're still on there, brother.
Hey.
We can't remember why.
What?
Yeah, Kevin Nash, the Super Shredder, is on that bad boy.
I have 2 Wall of Fames to add.
You're going to add to the Wall of Fame?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I do that now?
Yeah, go for it. We're at the Wall of Fame. Add to the Wall of Fame, Byron. Who you got?
Number 1 is to Cody Rhodes for this wonderful treat he bestowed upon us when he mentioned in an interview or something he did where he said he had these elaborate plans to announce that he was the PWI number 1 wrestler of the year. And he didn't get to do it for obvious reasons.
Wow.
Whatever. Like he's a great worker, and obviously, cool.
And you're putting him on the Wall of Fame for this?
Yes, because because he told us afterwards.
His honesty is
I'll
great.
tell you
about it.
Okay, which I agree with to a certain extent, but I'll tell you why Cody's really going on the Wall of Fame this week. Cody Rhodes this week, it looks like, has actually gotten his name back. You see that we're actually calling him Cody Rhodes right now.
Yeah,
when I had Cody and Brandy on my NFL show last year, he was super strict about, like, dude, you can say Cody and Brandy Rhodes, you can say Brandy Rhodes, you can say Dusty Rhodes, but you cannot at any point in time put the name Rhodes and Cody next to each other. I'm either just Cody, I'm Cody Runnels, I'm Cody, the executive vice president of AEW, or I'm Cody and Brandy Rhodes, but I'm never just Cody Rhodes. Now, WWE has abandoned their trademark claim on the Cody Rhodes name, and maybe Rhodes in general. They may have just given up on that altogether.
No, they're still doing Dusty figures, so they have Dusty Rhodes.
I think they have. Well, also Dusty has to own his name.
But they're licensed to use that name anyway. So I don't think it'd be an issue. But and from what I understand, Cody was very gracious about the whole thing. He was filing to try to get the name himself, and made some appropriate phone calls, said hello to some people, and I think did the right thing. I think they feel like they held him up long enough, and his name is so closely associated with him anyway that it's not doing anything for the WWE to keep it from him.
But he was also going for because he was trying to get some old school NWA WCW,
and allegedly he traded.
So
allegedly,
he abandoned two pay-per-view names, two show names.
But I mean, those were show names that he's basically saying his dad had come up with, right? Is that what was going on?
Yeah,
so
I don't hold against him for doing it, but it shows how smart he is as a
business savvy. Yeah, it's great business savvy. The guy does know what he's doing to a certain extent. And when he says he's the ace, it's not just because of what he's trying to do in the ring. Of those guys that came over, it's not the guys in the elite that are really making AEW work the right way. Honestly, of the Kenny, Young Bucks, and Cody and Brandy, even, like, Cody's the one that is actually helping run the company. Let's just be honest.
Yeah. If he put Darby over at Full Gear by the time you hear this episode, I wholeheartedly agree. If he did not put Darby over at Full Gear, he is on the wall of shame. Instead, I veto Byron's vote.
I'm going to say this, like, whether Darby, regardless of Darby holding gold, I think that Cody has done the right thing by Darby, getting him in the spotlight the right way in general. And I think that is fully Cody doing that. And Cody is paying attention to some of these younger and upcoming talents. I feel like a lot of the Orange Cassidy stuff is coming from him as well. And he knows what he's doing. And he's got Tony's ear with this stuff. I think Tony is really starting to trust him. And of those guys, Cody's booking is better than Kenny's booking was when he was doing the women's division.
Yep. Cody put Darby over huge in the last promo. Him over huge every time they work together. Here's another little tidbit. Speaking of, like, the young guys, the new acts that AEW is taking a chance on. I heard that that they even weren't all that on the Orange Cassidy bandwagon, and he got his spot in that one the pre-show Battle Royal thing. Yeah, because Cage had to bow out. He was a fill-in. And Tony Khan wasn't even all that hyped on Orange Cassidy until he found out that he was Fire Ant in Chikara.
Okay, which makes sense.
That's just hearsay. That's just hearsay and rumor that has never been proven.
Oh,
who was your second person, Byron?
I'm sorry.
You have somebody else for the Wall of Fame?
So I have someone else for the Wall of Fame.
Who's that?
Speaking of Del Rio, the poor soul that he tortured for however long they were together, who is doing much better now aside from her fragile neck, is taking dancing lessons and posted a video of her dancing lessons, and that video puts her on the Wall of Fame.
You want me to put Saraya Knight on the Wall of Fame for her dancing videos?
Watch the video.
Dancing videos. That's dancing.
Right. So that's a question mark for me, and we're going to watch that video, and then I'll let you know next week if Paige has in fact made the Wall of Fame, because Byron could be right about this one. Byron's been right about Stranger Things.
Get back to me on one, whether or not you agree, and then two, how many times you've watched it.
Okay, yeah, hit me in the DM with that, because I spent most of my week rewinding Red Velvet in her match against Nyla Rose.
You guys are fucking perverts.
What?
Look, I'm not trying
Terrible.
to be disgusting. I'm just trying to say that I think that Red Velvet is super duper hot, and I think she's a great wrestler too. And I
feel like we should apologize to any female listeners for this before we apologize for any ball commercials. I'm just saying.
Here's the thing.
Wall of shame, Byron, for being a thirsty bitch.
Oh, can we make a thirsty bitch t-shirt, please? Oh,
hey,
Thirsty bitch, Byron.
I might be a single guy with some, women that I find to be appealing at times, but there's way less restraining orders on me. Way less.
That's good.
We just talked about 5 of them on you in the first act of the show.
Yeah, he kind of missed that though because his camera. We kicked him from the show so he wouldn't violate it.
Mandated webcam shut down.
Yeah. It was convenient timing.
We preemptively decided to strike in preservation of our own podcast.
Well, look, speaking of shameful things and people, let's talk about the Wall of Shame real quick. Yeah. David Lagana is still on there, sadly.
Off because you don't see the big deal.
Look, David Lagana is there, man. He's there. He's not coming off. Jeffrey Briggs and JT Wilcoxon, dear Lord, they are so on this list because now it's starting to get around to other people that they're trying to do something with Lucha Underground. People, please don't listen to it. Like, if there's something going to happen with Lucha Underground, we will know and we will tell you.
I've actually purchased the trademark.
Oh God, I wish that would be phenomenal.
Purchase Lucha Underground Wrestling, but Lucha spelled with 4 C's.
Yeah, it's Lucha Underground.
Lucha Underground. Anyway, also still on the Wall of Shame, Velveteen Dream, Impact Wrestling for not getting its wrestlers verified, Brit Wrestling, Pedos, Predos, and Pervs, Tessa Blanchard for phoning it in, the UFC 4 video game, which I have played now, and it is not to my liking for some.
Yeah,
it is bad news. Ricochet until he cuts a good gimmick. Cult Icon. Wait, Cult Icon still on here? Spotfest Radio still on here. Austin Theory's on here. WWE Brass for trying to take over Twitch. Jordan Devlin's on here. But what's up with Eric Mutter? I thought he was coming off this list. Is he still on this thing?
So, I have this proposal.
Okay.
Bill Mutter listens to the show, and he probably also watches it. So I have this proposal to get off the list because I'm nothing if not a fair and reasonable person.
Yes. Does he have to buy a ball
saver? He's not going to blow you.
So to get off the list,
he has to buy
what I would like
Manscaped ball shavers.
What Mutter needs to do is he needs to watch my short film, Delusions of Morons.
Okay.
This
is a punishment.
And then
big punishment.
And then he needs to post a review about the show.
Okay, so Eric Mutter, the Cult Icon.
I'm not done.
Oh wow, there's more than that.
There's a foot-long Subway. Some cookies.
No matter what he thinks about the movie, he needs to post a good review of it.
Yeah,
okay,
you know what?
You want him to go. I mean, the guy's still a journalist, whether you like his journalism or not. He's still a journalist. You're going to make the guy.
As producer of this film, I agree. As associate producer of this film, I agree that Byron is going down the right path here.
Okay, here's the deal. I'm gonna let Mutter off the Wall of Shame if he watches Byron's film produced by Casey. If he watches the Delusions of Morons, and it's a short film, it's not long, it shouldn't be hard for him to do. If he watches the film and gives a review, if that is a bad review, you deserve it, Byron.
If he gives an absolutely shit review, absolutely ripping it to shreds, he's on the Wall of Fame.
Here's the deal. This is an absolute test of your journalistic ability, Eric Mutter. You need to write not a good review or a bad review, but a credible review that is actually good journalism. Tell me what's
no
memes.
No memes in the body of the
memes.
Review.
Write a credible review. Show me you've got some talent for writing in general on Byron's film to make up for however Byron feels you wronged him. If Mutter can do those two things, I will personally take him down off the Wall of Shame, regardless of what anybody else
says.
We are harsh judges because you know how many papers we had to write in film school? a lot, Byron, right? Right?
I had one class specifically that would show you a movie on Tuesday and you'd had to write 8 pages by Thursday on it.
Yeah, it fucking sucks. I know. I was there too. So we expect at least 8 pages.
I don't care if it's lengthy or not. I just want it to be credible. Say some credible things that show that you can watch a piece of tape and comment on it in a fashion that is credible journalism. Let's see if
that's not what you told me last night, Justin.
So you could find.
You said you wanted it only lengthy, and you didn't care anything else about it.
You can find the movie on YouTube and Vimeo.
It's got some girth to it.
Wait, YouTube and Vimeo where?
I'm trying. That's what the next words I was.
Well, your microphone's not loud enough, so everyone cuts you off. So get it in.
Everyone talks over me anyway. So Delusions of Morons. Search for that on YouTube or Vimeo, or go to delusionsofmorons.com. You can watch a short film, and then you can write a credible review, and then we'll see what happens. If you talk shit about it, I still reserve the right to react to that.
This is your chance.
Yeah, same.
This is your chance. And I have to go watch wrestling. So until next time, stay calm and stay in the mix.
Fuck Donald
Penis.
Trump. Giant orange cunt.
Really, the buy-in show is on, isn't it?
It's at 3. God damn it, motherfucker.
That's now. Bye-bye. Bye now.